The anterior thoracic wall is a highly ordered, three-dimensional topographical map. Every muscle, vessel, and nerve occupies a specific stratum, and navigating this space safely requires knowing exactly which plane you are operating within. This 3D surface model establishes the strict physical borders of the pectoral region. It is bound superiorly by the clavicle, medially by the lateral border of the sternum, laterally by the lateral chest wall, and inferiorly by the inframammary fold. To understand its mechanics, we approach it like a dissection, peeling structures sequentially from superficial skin to deep musculature. Viewing the cross-section reveals our path. We begin with skin, descend through the fascial planes, and finally reach the deep muscular engines. Mastering clinical procedures like axillary lymph node dissection or managing penetrating chest trauma requires knowing exactly how these individual layers interlock and slide against one another. This layered organization dictates the safe path for surgical instruments. Understanding the spatial relationship between these strata is essential for precise navigation during invasive procedures. We begin the dissection at the outermost layer, focusing on the sensory wiring embedded within the skin. This top-down wireframe displays the supraclavicular nerves. Arriving from the C3 and C4 roots of the cervical plexus, they descend over the clavicle to supply sensation to the upper pectoral and deltopectoral skin. Moving medially along the model, we see the anterior cutaneous branches of the intercostal nerves, spanning roots T2 through T6, piercing the pectoralis major right at the lateral edge of the sternum. As the model rotates laterally, we observe the lateral cutaneous branches from those same T2 through T6 intercostal nerves, emerging at the mid-axillary line, cleanly bifurcating into anterior and posterior sensory divisions. Within this sensory grid, the T4 dermatome serves as the primary clinical anchor, running horizontally straight across the level of the nipple. This superficial wiring is highly exposed. Routine clinical procedures like inserting an intercostal chest drain or performing a mastectomy risk severing these tiny branches. When severed, the resulting numbness follows the strict horizontal bands of the dermatomes. This means surface sensory loss provides an exact, readable diagnostic map back to specific underlying thoracic nerve root trauma. This macro footage demonstrates the mechanical nature of the superficial fascia. Situated immediately deep to the skin, this fibrous web acts as the housing matrix for the body's breast tissue, subcutaneous fat, and the cutaneous nerve networks we just mapped. Within this superficial fascia are the suspensory ligaments of Cooper, also known as retinacula cutis. These tough, fibrous bands travel through the breast tissue, physically tethering the deep fascia outward to the overlying dermis. When breast carcinoma develops and infiltrates the surrounding tissue, it catches and physically shortens these ligaments. The tension pulls the surface skin inward, creating a visible clinical sign known as skin dimpling. Stripping away this superficial layer exposes the deep pectoral fascia, a dense connective sheet that directly invests the pectoralis major and anchors firmly to the sternum medially and the clavicle superiorly. By removing the pectoralis major, this diagram isolates a vital, deeper plane, the bright blue clavipectoral fascia, a continuous sheet that tightly encloses both the subclavius and the pectoralis minor muscles. Focusing tightly on the superior portion of this fascial sheet reveals a specific anatomical subdivision called the costocoracoid membrane. This membrane is pierced by three critical structures. First, watch as the cephalic vein dives inward, passing from the superficial tissues to drain into the axillary vein. Second, the thoracoacromial artery emerges outward from the axillary axis to supply the anterior chest wall. Third, tracing tightly alongside that artery is the lateral pectoral nerve, en route to innervate the pectoralis major. Moving inferiorly past the pectoralis minor, this fascial sheet continues downward as the suspensory ligament of the axilla. This inferior extension creates the definitive surgical plane required for a safe axillary dissection. The fascial architecture of the chest operates as both a structural barrier containing disease spread and a predictable highway dictating exactly where a scalpel must travel. Passing through the fascia brings us to the deepest operative layer, the four primary muscular engines of the anterior chest. The largest is the pectoralis major. It originates across a massive surface area, utilizing a superior clavicular head anchored to the medial half of the clavicle and a larger sternocostal head originating from the anterior sternum and upper costal cartilages. This skeletal model illustrates the muscle's highly unusual twisted insertion. Notice how the superior clavicular fibers actually dive underneath the inferior fibers, inserting lower down on the lateral lip of the humerus's bicipital groove. The pectoralis major is powered by dual innervation. The yellow nerve tracks lighting up here display the lateral and medial pectoral nerves, carrying fibers from roots C5 through T1. Transitioning deeper, we isolate the pectoralis minor. This triangular muscle originates securely on ribs 3, 4, and 5 and converges upward to insert directly onto the coracoid process of the scapula. Innervated entirely by the medial pectoral nerve, the pectoralis minor pulls the scapula anteriorly and inferiorly. In moments of respiratory distress, it reverses its mechanical action, elevating the ribs to assist in forced inspiration. Superior to this sits the subclavius, a small cylindrical muscle tucked tightly into the narrow space between the first rib and the inferior groove of the clavicle. The subclavius has a vital protective function. If extreme force fractures the clavicle downward, this muscle acts as a physical shock absorber, preventing sharp bone fragments from lacerating underlying vessels and nerves. Shifting focus to the lateral chest wall, we find the serratus anterior, easily identified by the distinct muscular digitations spanning the outer surfaces of ribs 1 through 8. It wraps closely around the contour of the thorax, inserting onto the costal surface of the medial border of the scapula. Its primary role is to protract the scapula and rotate it upward when you elevate your arm. This diagram highlights the exact path of the long thoracic nerve, carrying roots C5 through C7. Notice that it runs vertically down the completely exposed superficial face of the serratus anterior. Because this nerve does not travel deep to the muscle it innervates, its superficial placement leaves it extraordinarily vulnerable to blunt lateral chest trauma or accidental injury during axillary node clearance. The deep pectoral muscles provide the necessary mechanical leverage to operate the upper limb, but their intersecting geometries also force vital neurovasculature to travel along highly exposed transit routes. By reassembling the entire anterior thoracic wall, we can observe how these interlocking systems function and fail as a cohesive unit. In breast carcinoma, structural changes to these distinct layers dictate the physical presentation. Tumor tethering to Cooper's ligaments causes the skin dimpling we noted earlier, while physical obstruction of the superficial lymphatic drainage causes a thickened, pitted skin texture known as peau d'orange. The depth of tissue invasion dictates the staging. A T4 cancer classification indicates that the tumor has physically broken through the deep fascial boundary and invaded the actual tissue of the pectoralis major muscle beneath it. This posterior skeletal view demonstrates the biomechanical consequence of surgical injury. If the exposed long thoracic nerve is severed during a radical mastectomy, it paralyzes the serratus anterior. The muscle cannot hold the scapula flush against the thorax, resulting in clinical winging of the scapula. We can also differentiate pectoral nerve injuries purely by looking at muscle atrophy. Because the medial pectoral nerve pierces the pectoralis minor to reach the major, severing it causes atrophy in both muscles. The lateral pectoral nerve travels directly to the major, so its injury isolates the deficit to a single muscle belly. Returning to the surface, the deltopectoral groove remains a vital superficial landmark. It houses the cephalic vein precisely where it pierces the costocoracoid membrane, providing a reliable, direct venous access route for feeding pacemaker leads into the right atrium. Mastery of the pectoral region is the ability to look at a patient and visualize this tiered machinery functioning beneath the